There is a lot speculated about the future of dubstep and sub-bass. There are many that say that the trend is going to get heavier. I don't know how that might work out. It can, and I know it will. But I wonder, what is going to happen? For example, in 1992, genres like garage and two-step started to have a stronger soul influence in the vocals and compositions. Mm-hmm. Something that many people wouldn't think at the beginning.
Right.
What do you think is the direction that dubstep and sub-bass are going to take?
I think that dubstep was built by people who have experienced the rise and fall of different music genres.
So many different, yeah.
Like for the younger guys, they experienced like the rise and fall of garage. And it is seeing a bit of a comeback of its own now. But, it went from being like this huge popular form of music, and then it just sort of disappeared. And you talk to older people, people who come from like Code 9 and Mala, like their era, and they were part of like the jungle scene, or they were part of the UK hardcore scene. And they've seen those styles of music kind of come on a rise and sort of fall. What I think dubstep is it's kind of been built on this principle of like, what can we do to prevent that from happening? What were some of the things in other forms of music that allowed them to fall rapidly? And I kind of feel like through everyone I've met in dubstep, they're like, we have a sort of code of ethics, of checks and balances, where everyone's kind of like keeping an eye on each other and like not trying to let anyone get too wild, but not, paying attention and monitoring that, drugs or certain elements aren't really becoming like a big problem with the scene. I think everyone's just sort of like conscious of it in their own mind, that they want to see it continue, that they're very excited about the music. And I feel like this music, it's not really like a drugs music, it's not really like an ego music.
You don't need it.
It's really kind of like a form of music that people just experience and appreciate, but you don't have an ego in it.
That is wonderful.
Sort of like stripped away from it. It's not music that you go out and hear in a club where there's like visuals and lights and rave lasers and all this shit. It's more like it's a dark area, and it's, the bass is just it, and the DJ is sort of like a faceless, sort of anonymous thing, and everyone there in the crowd is all sort of one, and there's an MC that sort of guides people through it, and there's this interactive sort of experience. So just the format of like that, I feel like dubstep has a future.
Yes, it has to stay like that.
It's only going to continue as long as people are like
honest
about it, and that's been part of the thing that's been great. I've been through many different types of musical genres myself, and I've seen them all kind of come and go. And I feel like this is the first time that I've ever been like this closely connected with a form of music. And it's because of the fact that everyone's very open arms about it, and everyone's sort of like in constant communication with each other.
So the idea is to keep this format.
I think everyone that's like involved in it right now is doing a really great job of like kind of keeping open the communication, kind of talking to each other about it. So I see that there is like a future in it for that. There's definitely, I feel like there's going to be a scene continuing, and it's only going to get better, but it's not going to be like, I explained it to someone who was another promoter, and they were saying to me, let's do like a massive dubstep event. And I kind of like was hesitant to that. They're thinking in thousands of people, and I'm hesitant to it because I feel like little by little right now it's sort of traveled like word of mouth, where one person goes and experiences it and feels what the event is like, and they see it's this sort of family of like people, and little by little it grows. But you take 2,000 people and put them in a room and play dubstep, you're not going to have that same experience. So it's something I feel is kind of growing and snowballing, but if there's like commercial influences that kind of come in, it's going to spoil it for certain types of people. So
yeah, when it goes to mainstream,
yeah,
a lot of things are spoiled, like what happened to drum and bass.
yeah, definitely. Or like even like forms of like punk rock or disco or anything.
Yeah.
You know, you really see this gravitation away from
the honesty.
You know, the honesty, the true, the core root of this thing to, it's just been diluted with people that really don't understand it, So right now I think everyone's just really set on like keeping that core together.
That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah. I am, and everyone I speak to is sort of on the same page with it.